It's April 12, 2021. Let's start the update over here with the summer snowflakes. As you can see, pretty much all of the flowers have opened. And over here we have the Persian pearl tulips. Seems like all of the flowers have sort of dried up. Probably it's because it's too hot and I haven't really been watering the plants. This particular flower looks fine though. And over here we have the glory of the snow. I'm not seeing any flowers yet. Probably not gonna get any flowers this season. And here's the peony, looking very healthy. Here's the grape hyacinth latifolium. Looks like all the flowers have opened. And this is the other variety of grape hyacinth. All the flowers have pretty much opened too. And the lavender is looking quite well too. A lot of new growths all over the plant. With new growths always comes aphids. So right here you can see actually a lot of aphids infestation on these new growths. And here's the rosemary, looks very healthy still. Lots of new growth and flowers. Daffodil is done flowering for the season. The calla sprouts are all pretty much dead, no new growth. And the dahlia is pretty much the same thing, except if you look closely you can see some new sprouts forming around each of the dead sprouts. The grape is looking good. Here's the buds that have formed a few weeks ago. Some of them have opened, as you can see, this one with the leaf. And the other stem that I broke a few weeks ago, looks like the buds are still forming. And over here we have the asparagus. That second sprout is getting a lot taller now, as you can see. And that very first sprout is still tiny. Not sure why it's not growing. And here's the saffron. You can see the leaves are turning yellow. This one is a bit more advanced. And here's the rhubarb. You can see the flower spikes have opened. These are the rhubarb flowers. And seems like there's a few more. Here's another flower spike and there's another one. So a total of 3 right now. Over here's the mulberry. You can see all the buds have pretty much turned yellow/green. They're definitely opening. And this is just a close-up of the sprouts. This is the green onion. You can see the flower buds are about to open. It's getting pretty spherical. Very interesting shape. Rosemary looks about the same. And the raspberry, a few sprouts from the base of the plant. Some of the sprouts that overwintered have completely opened, like this one. But not so much over here. As for the blueberry, you can see some leaves have started to form, and most of the flowers are about to open. Here's a few ones that have already opened. And here's a few more. The hyacinth flowers have started to fade a little bit. This white one looks great still, but this red one, you can see some flowers are dying back. The striped squill looks great, and this is the most flower I've seen since I planted the plant. Look at all these flowers. I looked around on Google, and based on the flower shape and color, I identified this tree as serviceberry. These are the flowers that have not opened yet. This one is partially opened. And these ones are pretty much all opened now. And here are the hydrangea. The hydrangea leaves are growing nicely, and also the flowers are forming on the tip of each of the branch. And here's the smallest hydrangea. This is the shooting star variety. Here's the lily of the valley. You can see the sprout contains a flower. And here we have a group of sprouts. You can also see some flowers forming from the sprouts. Here are some more of the lily of the valley sprouts, all growing nicely. As for the winter jewel, the flower looks great still. Some new leaves from the Easter cactus. Some flower spikes from the spider plant. Look at this one, it's flowering. And this one has just started to form. The fiddle leaf fig is enjoying this west-facing window, and this new sprout is sort of getting a bit bigger. The maidenhair fern is actively sending out new leaves. Look at all these new fronds. All these orchids are enjoying this west-facing window. And the bud from the smallest lady slipper orchid looks like it's opening. Got this new maidenhair fern from my local grocery store. It was looking quite sad and it was on sale, so I have to rescue it. And if you look closely at the leaves, you can see those tiny black spots. Those are actually the spores from the plant. A lot of new fronds are forming from the plants, means it's pretty healthy. I built this plant shelf for the orchids and the succulents on the top floor. I also just really want a place to put this pineapple because it's so big. Let's take a look at the hoya. Here's a new growth. Here's another new growth. And here's another new growth. One last plant that made some progress is the phalaenopsis. Here's a new leaf, and also that tiny flower spike. I think it's actually getting a bit bigger.